Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. Rumour has it show in regards of Aaron Cresswell. He looks like he's on his way out, and it's a shame. It's a shame, but I do like that West Ham are looking to sort of get rid of a lot of the older players and basically go fresh this season. I will say that. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Right, let's get into this. Aaron Cresswell in talks with Wolves. Should we sell or keep? That is the $1,000,000 question, people. Should we sell Aaron Cresswell or should we keep him? I see a lot of people today turning around and basically saying that we shouldn't really keep Aaron Cresswell. It's time for a change, and I do agree with them. I think Aaron Cresswell's done his time. He's 33 years old. He's going to be 34 soon. How long do you keep him? How long do you keep this man? You can't keep him for too long. And I just think it's better moving forward for West Ham. You know what I mean? So for me, he's had a good 9 years. I think he's been here since. And to let him go, obviously, it's going to be a shame. But you've got to think of long term with West Ham. West Ham been crying out for left backs for a long time, and Cresswell just hasn't really been the sort of Cresswell of old for a few years. Obviously, 2 years ago, the incident in Frankfurt will always sort of remain, but I think last year sort of cemented him as a sort of West Ham great, obviously winning the Conference League. So, he's done very, very well, Cresswell, but I think a lot of people love him for how long he's been here, but they're not looking at a long-term plan with West Ham. And the long-term plan should be to sign younger players and develop them over a period of time. Let's get into your comments, have a look, see what you're all saying. Richard's not happy. He says, "See ya, Cressy lad." Didn't he just sign a 1-year extension? I don't think he has, mate. From what I've been reading today, I don't think he has signed any sort of extension. Otherwise, there's no way West Ham would be looking to sell him. Or maybe West Ham did give him a contract and a bid's come in for him. West Ham ain't going to say no to 5 million for Cresswell at 33. They really ain't. So glad this liability's gone, for fuck's sake. Worst defender we've had in the last 2 years. That's Razor. Razor's speaking aggressively there. I'll sell if we had a younger left back as a backup this season. Emerson be our starting left back. Yeah, I agree. Obviously, Ian Maatsen, is it? The Chelsea sort of player, loaned to Burnley last year, done very, very well at Burnley. I've got to be honest. And Burnley done some great things last year with some players. I will say that. So yeah, if he was to come in, there is another French lad or over in Nice, I think it is, who's been mentioned. I've got no idea who he is. I cannot tell you nothing on him at all, but obviously he's got to be quite decent. Sell for $1 million? God dear, everyone's going in hard on him today. Evan Wallace, Cresswell's time's up. Great servant, but I need fresh and younger players now. I totally agree. When you are got West Ham now, and West Ham in their sort of, I would say their best moment, because Europa League football, you're going to attract a lot of younger players, a lot of good players to the club. West Ham needs to go out and get these younger and better players than Cresswell. You know what I'm saying? I see people saying about Cresswell's set piece ability. Don't get me wrong, very good. But if we're relying on a left back to put in crosses for us, then we've got more deeper problems than we think. I will say that. Selcrest should have done that 2 or 3 years ago. And he's not holding back. People are not holding back today, I must admit. I think we can sign a new left back without selling Cresswell. I disagree there, mate. We can't have 3 left backs at the club. I know we've got many right backs, but Kera can cover left back and all. I just think people are very sentimental. Do you know what I mean? If you're getting £5 million for a 33-year-old player who's going to be 34 soon, and he's got 1 year left on his contract, you take it and run. Wolves offering 3 million, snap it up. All I am hearing is selling. I am worried. Cresswell's been finished for 3 years or so. Jesus, everyone's going in. I think it's time for him to move on. Needs to start fresh in a left back position now. Let's be honest, as West Ham fans, we've been crying out for left backs for a hell of a long time. Like a hell of a long time, we've been looking for left backs. And let's be honest, how long did it take us to find Emerson? Do you know what I mean? We've had like Mazawaku there, Cresswell there, like West Ham struggle at left back position, and I can understand it if unless they've got someone lined up. That's the only thing I can say. If they've got someone lined up, then by all means let Cresswell go. Trevor, hope you're well, mate. I think you're in South Africa if I've got that right. Yes, let him go and put these youngsters. The academy players need to shine. I agree on that. I must admit, some of them youngsters do look good. I don't think he's anywhere near as bad as people say. I wouldn't say he's bad, but I would say he's past his best. Do you know what I mean? He's not a bad player, Cresswell, and that's coming from me. And I'm not his biggest fan, but I do feel sometimes people look at his set piece ability, but don't look at his defending. Like when you've got a left back, the first thing I look at is defending. Can they defend? Cresswell in the back three, pretty good. Yeah, I'd say he's pretty decent, all right, because he hasn't really got to do a lot of moving about. As a left back, he gets roasted. Gets roasted so many times at left back, and for how good he puts a delivery in, he doesn't really get up and down the pitch as much as you want him to. I will say that. Strongly disagree. We need players like Cress in the dressing room for leadership. Some of the comments are harsh on him. Um, yeah, you can have leaders, but what's the point of having a leader from the bench? Like we need leaders on the pitch, not on the bench. But that's just me. Cresswell to Wolves is off, so I hear. Well, that is well and truly back on. It might leave a bit of leadership hole with Rice gone too, but he's coming to the end anyway. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Cresswell will team up with the legend Dawson. Yeah, we are the only team in the league who has not signed anyone. Yeah, I know that's a bit of a concern, Tone. I won't lie. When you are selling everyone, but in this West Ham are preparing just to go out and blitz, and unless they've got signings already lined up, just waiting to get rid of everyone out, and then bang, you bring in 5 players at once. It's the only thing, but it's not the West Ham way, is it? Let's be real. If Cresswell is moving to Wolverhampton, he will finish higher up in the table. Well, I don't know. I actually fancy Wolves to go down. Not sure about Mensah. He's tiny, Lanzini size. I think we should be going for Sosa after leaving Stuttgart for about 10 million. Bloody that's cheap. Has better delivery than Cressy. Tim tried to get him in January as well. Fair enough, mate. Do you know what? I've always liked but was it Borna Sosa, isn't it? Yeah, the Croat. Decent player, I must admit. We tried him for him, I think it was about 18 months ago. And a lot of people have said about him, but it's one of them ones. Like Cresswell's going to be a fan's favourite because he's been here such a long time. Let's be real. Like he has, and people are going to love him regardless of what happens. But there does come a time where you have to say goodbye, like Dawson. And that's one thing with West Ham. I will say we are very sentimental with our players. We're a very passionate bunch, but we're a very sentimental bunch, and we don't like letting players go. Like even Obonna, yeah, for instance. Obonna's got another year here, yeah, which is rightfully so, but it's very hard to let players go, right? And West Ham need to cut that out really and start thinking of the long term rather than the short term. What we got here, let's get back up. It's skipped, but we will get back to it. Has been good as well. Squad us now. He could take up a similar role to how Noble was towards the end, leadership in the dressing room and dependence if we need him. For me, it might even be he wants to move up north. Like you don't know where he's based. Like if he's based sort of up north, or he wants to go back towards Liverpool, that might be possibly it. Or try and steal Cookes before he signs for Bournemouth 15.5. Well, I am surprised that we didn't go for him. I really am. Maybe I don't know. I am shocked by that. Really, I am. So sell Moyes to Wolves too. People were going in on Moyes already this season. The season hasn't even started. Cressy has been a great servant, but without Moyes, he would have been sold 18 months ago. I do agree on that. I do agree on that. He's one of the best left backs in the league during the 2021 season. You know, that's 2 years ago, though, mate. How long do you keep him for? At best, now Cresswell is a championship player now, and he has lost all his pace. See, I agree, Michael, on that, 100%. What we got here? Let's have a look. Oh, where are we? What position would Moyes play? Yeah, and Moyes can direct the traffic cones. Everyone's on Moyes. Hi, James. Hope you're well. It's concerning me when we're letting players go, but no incomings. I don't think there will be no incomings. Like you're not getting rid of Cresswell unless you've got a player lined up. There's no way. Do you know what I'm saying? And for me, if you've got a player lined up, then it's straightforward, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a bit concerned. Don't get me wrong. Next week, this time next week, if we haven't signed anyone by this time next week, then panic stations. But it's West Ham, and it always put us through the mill, even in the transfer window. He's been a good servant over the years, Cresswell, but it's the right time to move on. He's coming to the end. Legs are gone, and he needs to stop being so sentimental, keeping players past their sell-by date. Totally agree with Will on that. I mean, comment a day from Will. I like how he put sentimental there. Exactly how I feel. James, watching his defending, it's abysmal. Needed Benny and Fornells to do his job, and that stopped them from doing their job. I agree. To be honest, 5 million for a 33-year-old we lose on a free next year is good business, and we can get a replacement. And that's coming from the journalist Taylor. Go and follow him on Twitter. You get all the up-to-date news and views. The Perth tour in Oz shows we have young guns showing Moyes that they need to be given their chance. Enjoy your commentary on the Perth game, buddy. Thank you very much, Trevor. I really do appreciate it, mate. The thing is, before I carry on with all your comments, because it's going to be interesting to see what people think. Very mixed bag on Twitter and on social media. Some people are in the camp of you don't get rid of him, which I can understand it. People have got a lot of love for him. Some people in the camp are like, it's time for a fresh start. Do you know what I'm saying? And I do like it that we're sort of clearing out a lot of people that ain't going to be first teamers. Do you know what I mean? Apart from Deck, you're getting rid of Antonio. Is Antonio going to be a first team at West Ham? I don't think so. If you get rid of Antonio, you're going to go out and get another player. Same thing with Cress. Cress ain't going to be first choice, I don't think, this season. So it's going to be second choice. Now, if he wants first team football, then it might be beneficial for him to make a move. So, we'll see what happens there. Cresswell has been building a house in Liverpool, so it wouldn't be surprised if he's moving home. Is the reason a bit like a Dawson? See, I agree on that. Yeah, to go sort of to Wolves, you're going sort of up that sort of way. And if they're prepared to give you 5 million for him, it's definitely worth it, mate. It really is. Take 500k for Cresswell. Sell Fornells for 2.5 million. Wow. Go and follow Scott Venn on all social media outlets on his stuff. Afternoon, all. How are you, Jimbo? I'm very well, mate. Obviously, the news of Cresswell's come out, so I'm just talking to the folks as I do. Have you been asked to feature on Claret and Boozie's new show? No, mate. I don't get asked because I'm very opinionated. Do you know what I mean? I had to see something on Twitter earlier on about me or this channel, and something about bruv and this and that. Don't discriminate these people, mate. Us chavs, don't discriminate us. Even though I'm not a chav and I'm quite a highly respectable person. Yeah, I haven't been asked though. I haven't been asked. So yeah. East Side Foods, I know we agree with you, but Cresswell is crap, mate. And stopping Skulls promotion back to backup. I don't think Skulls is ready though, if I'm honest. James, why do you think Moyes seems to have kept all power considering he has 1 year contract? Good question, mate. I don't know. I don't know. What the only thing I can think of with that before I carry on with your comments, and let's get this banner off. Yeah, is that what I don't understand is it seems like they get rid of everyone. Now, are these signings that are coming in Moyes' signings? That's the only worry that I have. Do you know what I mean? Getting rid of Cresswell, you would think Moyes would want to keep Cresswell. Let's be real. Yeah, because what people say about leadership and someone who they trust and this and that. There was a few games last season where Cresswell come in and he done okay. He done okay. He really did. And he was the sort of like Moyes going back to the old guard, so to speak. I never forget the Fulham game where they all went back to the old guard, and they all come in and we managed to like literally scrape over the line with a 1-0 win there. Yeah, but I don't understand where the signings are in regards to Moyes' signings. That's the only thing I don't understand. Maybe is it because he's got a year left? Maybe Moyes has got something to prove. Maybe they've all turned around and said, "Well, we'll get players in. You've got to prove. You've got to earn your extension, basically." Which, let's be honest, in any sort of career field, you got to earn it, ain't you? Let's be honest. Right. Let's get down to here. Right, what we got, Evan. We have a second highest aging team in the Premier League, which says it all. I agree, mate. Listen, we've got to cut it out. We've got to go for younger, fitter, faster players. It's one thing with West Ham I always say is we're supposed to play on the counter attack, but we're very slow. No, left back wise, right back wise, they're key positions now. Definitely need pace. I do think we need to start. We will start to bed in some youngsters with no ball pulling the strings. I'm pleased though. I'm pleased because someone said it on Twitter the other day, and I will get to your comments shortly. Yeah, is that could West Ham be in a situation now where they might have to use their youth players? Like they might be forced, like their hands might be forced, where they can't go out and buy 30, 40, 50 million pound players like they did last season, and FFP's on their case a little bit. They will go out and sign players, but they will integrate certain youngsters. I'm all for that. Trust me. Yeah, I mean Declan Rice when he arrived, he no one expected him to be £100 million player when he arrived. So you don't know what youngsters could turn up to be absolutely gems. Do you know what I mean? Could Freddie Potts be the next Declan Rice? You just don't know. Do you know, could Mbamba be an absolute quality centre forward in the Premier League? You've only got to look at Evan Ferguson at Brighton. Brighton, and that's the reason why Brighton get a lot of credit because they integrate their youth. They're not sentimental with players. They will sell players for large amounts of money, move on, get another one. It's like they've got a conveyor belt of talent. Yeah, and they go out and find this talent like Paul all the time. And that's what West Ham should do. Don't get me wrong, it was very hard to let go of certain players, i.e. Declan Rice, because he's a young player. He hasn't even hit his prime yet. But a lot of the older players with West Ham have to go. And it just needs to be it needs to be a reset and rebuild and restructure of West Ham. Because otherwise you're just gonna keep going around in circles all the time. You're gonna keep buying older players and it ain't gonna work in the end. No worries, Journo. I'll look after you. Man, this one everyone agrees on, and no one ever agrees on anything on it. Yeah. Now that's the replacement. I don't know who he is. Jezza, you might have to help me out on this one, mate. First time ever, I've been sort of like a little bit stunned who his geezer is. I've got no idea who he is. I think he plays for Nice. I think. Yeah. So anyone can help me with that? Truly grateful. Oggie's different class, James. Club captain, Aguerd team captain. Give it to Nath Aguerd, the captaincy, mate. Do you know what I mean? Oggie's been class, don't get me wrong, but should Oggie be our third choice centre half? No. Fourth choice, yes. I think Bonner comes in when you need him. Yeah, as an emergency. He shouldn't be third choice centre half at West Ham. I want him to play a lot this season. Looks like a natural finisher. I agree on that. I really do. I see enough thing the other day. The salary is way for the big six to get out of FFP. Yeah, I know, mate. Let's get down here, have a look. Let's see what Kent's got to say. Hello, Kent, all the way from Kent. Maatsen will be a top long-term replacement. Two great loan spells at Coventry and Burnley. Left peg like a wand can. I agree. Listen, I was up in Burnley and I was talking to a few Burnley fans recently, and some of what they're doing up there is pretty special, yeah. And they've just signed another geezer from Belgium, I think. Yeah, they're just flooding it with sort of the Belgium league. Obviously, company knows what the Belgium league's all about. He's obviously managed over there, so and he had a good loan spell that kid. Now, I didn't really ask about him. I will say that because obviously he's on loan from Chelsea, but he obviously had a good season. I remember doing a space with Chelsea fans, and there was someone on there talking about him and saying they would want him to come into Chelsea's first team. Do you know what I'm saying? So for the right fee, it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk because at 21 years old, he's only going to get better. Do you know what I'm saying? He ain't going to get any worse. So yeah. Uh, James, does your cap describe Jack Sullivan? Yeah, possibly, mate. You know what I mean? Smash the bloody like button. Yes, Tim. You tell him, get him, smashing that like button. We've seen, we seem to be losing a lot of players. Knowing, uh, yeah, we are. But then are we sort of just getting prepared just to sort of go and buy and loan 4 or 5 players? Like it can always swing around. As I say, we've got 4 weeks to start the season. I expect at least by next Friday, I expect at least 2 players in the door. Must be. If they're not in by next Friday, then there's something drastically wrong. Like, and then it is panic stations because 2 weeks out, and obviously next Friday will be the weekend leading up to that game with Rennes, I think it is. So yeah, like I'll panic then. I ain't gonna panic now. I don't understand why people think 27 is old, though. He's literally in the prime 27 to 32. Yeah. Uh, what we got? Oh, I'm getting down here. Why wouldn't Mensa come to West Ham? Can't see it myself. What someone did say to me was Burnley are in the front, like, are in the driving seat with him because I think they've got the option if they want to buy him or not. But West Ham, Europe, London. If he's based in London, obviously, it could be a shout for me. Do you believe that this is the transition before the club gets sold and the new owner is getting the team set up when they take over, maybe in 2 years' time? Hence why Sully wants all the money now. Not a bad shout, mate. Not a bad shout. That comment, I will say that. Someone said to me before, it's like there will be like a massive clear out. They will get players in, and then obviously the takeover will happen. I think the takeover is going to happen next season, next summer. Sorry. I look at it that they're going to give Moyes this year, and basically, I don't think Moyes could be 10th or 8th in the league. I don't think they offer him an extension until the end of the season. And mark my words on this, clip this up. If Moyes is doing very, very well, I don't believe that they're going to offer him an extension to the end of the season. I think at the end of the season, there will be a change of ownership, and then the ownership will decide whether to keep Moyes or go in a fresh direction, in my opinion. But that is my opinion, by the way. So yeah, he plays for Rennes. I can say I know as much about him. Yeah, I did play with a Guerd, Agent Aguerd. Been impressed with Ings in pre-season. Reckon he will have a great season for us next season. Hope so, mate. I hope so. Listen, he's changed his haircut and he can't stop scoring goals. But you know, Premier a bit different. Oh, so he does play for Rennes. So many good coaches around, and James, we have this prick Moyes still here. Tim's getting your people, please, and Sully set up supports him all the way. I'm not being funny. There's big pressure on Tim. Like on Tim Starton, there is massive, massive pressure on that lad because I hope the signings that he does bring in are the right ones and the ones that benefit us. I will say that. Only players we have lost currently are Rice and Lanzini. True, true, but Antonio does look like he could go, I must admit. We also should have been in for that lad who went to Bournemouth, the Hungarian left back. He's mustard. I agree, mate. Like Alfie and Mitch turned around and said about him about a month ago. When we played them, AZ, especially in the second leg, he tore that left hand side up big time, absolute big time, and he was a constant menace. The only thing I can think of is they don't have the faith he can do it in the Prem. That's why Bournemouth have gone in for him. Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to be interesting to see because if he does go to Bournemouth, first game of the season against us, you'll see him tear it up. It just wouldn't surprise me. I would sell him, but I'd rather sign someone first. I'm not confident in finding a superior replacement. Yeah, I agree on that. I must admit. Kent Hammers, that's the biggest worry. Do players want to come rather than Bournemouth? Yeah. James, how does your wager go if Skamaka goes out on loan? Well, it's a void bet, mate. Personally, right, just to talk about that bet, I don't think Alfie will go through with it. Alfie does not want to reveal his face because he's a very opinionated man and he really doesn't want to reveal his face. So whether or not it does happen or not, but I am going to do it. And if he does, he does. If he don't, then he's sacked, basically. But I'm either going to be 500 quid out of pocket or Alfie's going to be sacked. One of the two. So yeah. Hate to spoil your fun, but we've been no signs until last week of the window, and then Clown Moyes will waste money overpaying for rejects. It's nothing but fact. I don't know, Josh. I don't know, mate. Joshua. I really don't. I'm nervous. Don't get me wrong. Like, but I've got to try and keep the faith. Do you know what I mean? Like, one thing I see the other day is that, like, even with our fourth choice team, we've done all right. We've done all right. I mean, defensively, we could have been a lot solid. Don't get me wrong. I still believe in Skamaka. I do. Right, and I will back this kid up because he's not a bad striker. I've seen a lot more worse shit strikers at West Ham than Skamaka. You know what I mean? Zaza back in the fucking day. Go back and remember Zaza when he come. You know what I mean? He was fucking awful. Yeah, but Skamaka's not, man. Skamaka's not. And if he wants to be here and he's prepared to, he's up for it, then we've got a good player. We really have. Uh, right, let's get to Tay's question. I really strongly believe Cornet's been overlooked and forgotten as a player. Pledge with an injury and has put in some much effort in his recovery. So many videos of him just grinding in the gym. He's a big season for Cornet. Don't get me wrong, but he's got to do something this season. He has. Like, he seriously has. Um, where does he fit? Now, obviously, it looks like Barnes could be going to Newcastle. And if that does happen, that's a shame for West Ham. That's a bit of a massive blow. But if Cornet is back and he's firing, he's fit, then Cornet, Ben Rama on that left hand side, I think we need one more. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause I'm not got the faith in Cornet, and for how much I back Benny up, some games he does go missing, and that's coming from me. Like that is so. We do. I want to see us have a lot more strength and depth in the side. I really do. Aguirre could easily fill the role Declan has left. He has the speed, great tackler, good in the air, and a great passer. Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know. What the hell are we doing? Still not brought no one in. Dean, I agree with you, mate. It's a bit of a worry, isn't it? It's been real. Someone said we're signing a left back from France. Yeah, supposedly. New offside rule. The new offside rule may help Cornet. Well, he's got to stay on the side, isn't he? That's the first thing. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong with Maxwell Cornet, right? When we signed him for 17.5 million this time last season, we signed a pretty decent player, I thought. And as I say, I was up in Burnley 2 weeks ago, and I actually people was asking me about Maxwell Cornet and saying, "Well, how's he doing at West Ham?" And I said it's been a bit of a rocky road for him, big time. He hasn't really done anything of any note. He's been okay in games. Like before he got injured, I thought he looked pretty lively. Yeah. Once he got injured and he got that sort of bad luck that he's had, yeah, he hasn't really looked the same player. I think we're going to know within the first sort of 7 to 10 games where we are with Maxwell Cornet. If Maxwell Cornet still isn't on it, then it's a major flop signing. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. He's not a bad player. He's not. He's just had a rough road, isn't he? Let's be honest. I think we're straight through this season. Moyes leaves, so basically, money gets wasted. Moyes needs to go. We get a coach. Steinem runs the show. Moyes is pointless with a year left. See, that is the thing. That is what a lot of people, and I'm not saying it like on anyone else on any other channel, but the Moyes 1 year thing does still baffle the life out of me. You either back him or you sack him. Simple as that. Um, and I said this after the conference final. I said, how can you sack him? Yeah, when he's just won us a trophy. The problem is, if you're not going to sack him because he's just won us something, then you give him a 1 year extension on top of the 1 year current. Like you don't just leave him to play the game with a lot of money, and we could be in a situation where Moyes becomes stubborn with players that he hasn't signed, and he's like, it could be a nightmare. It really, really could. Do you know what I mean? I hope it isn't. I'm trying to remain confident this season with him. I'm liking that. I hope he invests in the youth. I really do. I want him to do that. I want him to sort of start looking at other players, and if it ain't working, like flood it with a few players. How many times last season did we have two goalkeepers on the bench? That is just embarrassing. Like, have faith in your youth. Like, we've got some good players in there. Like, and Bamba for me has to play games. He has to. Yeah. And if West Ham are 2-1 down with 10 minutes to go, chuck the kid on. Do you know what I mean? Because he put himself about and he could be the difference. And that's what we've got to learn. That's what we have got to learn this season. We could easily adjust, I reckon, Tim. So yeah, we will finish lower now. We are in a proper European comp, Premier or Europe. Well, for me, the Premier League is the bread and butter, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like we have got to basically finish in the top 10 this season. If West Ham finish, argument's sake, 12th, get knocked out of every cup competition in the quarter final, to me, where's the progression there? Like there is none. Do you know what I'm saying? I look at teams above us last season and give them their due. Like they are teams with no fear. Brighton, Brentford, no fear. Yeah, That's two teams got no fear. Brighton's going to be different this year because they've got two players that literally are being ripped out of their midfield. Obviously, McAllister's gone and Calcedo will be gone. He will be gone at some point. Now, if they keep Calcedo, then maybe that'd be all right. But Brighton seem to sort of get rid of players and still come back stronger than ever. Do you know what I mean? Brentford, obviously, no Ivan Toney, so they're going to be light in attack for a little while. So yeah, listen, I know West Ham can finish easy in the top 10. Yeah, easy. Yeah, you got the big six, you got Newcastle, right? But are Tottenham really in there? Like Tottenham, you take Harry Kane out of that team, Tottenham are bang average, in my opinion. And that's not me digging at them because they're a rival. I'm being honest here. If you take Harry Kane out of that team, Tottenham don't finish anywhere near like in the top 10, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a big season for West Ham. It really is. James, I said sack him after the conference final because he's only got 1 year left, but he should have walked away. I think on a high. I agree to a point. I really do on that comment. He should have walked away, Moyes. Like for the benefit of himself, and the Celtic job was there for him. Uh, he could have walked away. But I think his stubbornness is he started this, he wants to finish it, sort of thing. The only problem is the only way's down there for Moyes. That is the only problem. Unless he wins the Europa League, it's going to be right. He's going to go backwards rather than forwards. So he should have walked away for the benefit of himself. But then, yeah, it's the old saying: who do we bring in? Who do we bring in? Now, I always say, I've always said this: if you want and if you've got an ambitious owner, you go and get an ambitious manager, and then if you get the two together, you've got a winning combination, in my opinion. I don't think we've got the owners to match the ambition of what we really want to do. Like when I look at Newcastle, yeah, they've got a lot of money at their disposal, but then I do look at Brighton, who are a team on the up all the time, and this go back 10, 15 years ago, they didn't even have a ground. Do you know what I mean? So what they've done in that short space of time to turn their sort of whole world around is unreal, in my opinion. Should have been a mutual, Kent. Sacking would have looked bad on the club. Should have just agreed to part on mutual basis and pay the man maybe even a lump sum. Yeah, possibly agree on that. We should be a top 10 every year, a decent cup run. I don't think that's not, when I say that, and people argue with me on spaces and all that, and say, oh, West Ham ain't a big club. And that really, really grinds into me because we are a big club. Like, we are. Like, anything outside the top 10 isn't acceptable, in my opinion. Now, if I was turned around and I said West Ham to finish top six every season, that's me being unrealistic. Yeah. But top 10 is not being unrealistic where we are. Like for what we generate and name, basically. Do you know what I mean? And when you do look at other teams like Fulham, like Brentford, like Brighton, we're bigger clubs than them three all day long. So, you know, we've got to believe in ourselves, I think. James, I believe this club just wants to survive and have another long run in Europe to appease the fans. Now, it's all well and good having a good run in Europe. Don't get me wrong. I'm up for that. Yeah, I'm all for it. But we've got to make sure we stay in the league. Yeah. And this is the one fear that we have as West Ham fans is we're never guaranteed to stay in the league. Like every time West Ham play, if West Ham start losing games, you're worrying. You're instantly worrying because you're thinking we could be in a relegation battle here. Yeah. And if we go on a long run where we don't win any games, then it could be curtains for us. Like, and there's always a threat of West Ham going down. There's never a threat of these other big teams going down. And that's why West Ham need to start acting like a big team and making sure that we never suffer relegation again. Like we shouldn't. Not with the fan base we got and the players that we got. Now, if West Ham go out and surprise us all and bring in six top quality players in positions that we need, then we're all down for that. Do you know what I mean? Because that's all we want is we want West Ham to be a success long term. Now, me and Lucas have this debate on this channel quite a lot, and Lucas is like, "Well, what you do is you get from now, you work for now, you don't work for the future." And I'm a bit different. I look at it like the future is now, basically. Like this is West Ham's best moment. So if you're going to go out and get these young players, you go out and get them and bring them in West Ham's best moment because this is West Ham's best moment. Right? It's not like Europa League football. We've just won a trophy. we should be in an attractive proposition for a team or players to come to this team. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what it should be. Also concerned with staff leaving again and no replacements. I've heard. Yeah, that is no one really mentions that. That is a major concern. That really is. Like having was it 3 staff members the other day? That's borderline embarrassing, isn't it? Let's be honest. Let's have a shot of water. Mouth's gone a bit dry. Rabbit it on. Cornet, could Cornet be used as a wing back if we go with that formation? Well, he's played wing back before, Steve. I'll be honest with you. He played it at Lyon, I think it was. So it wouldn't be a bad shout. You're losing it, mate. We'd be lucky to finish 14th. But then that's the thing, though, Joshua. Yeah, if that is the case, then why? Like this is where people need to stand up and say, well, that's not acceptable. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it ain't acceptable. Like we should be at least top 10, and I don't think I'm being realistic there or unrealistic. Should I put it? West Ham is one of the biggest clubs in the country with the best support, which has held back. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. I will say that. Are West Ham part of the big 6, 10, or lower? Well, top 10 for me. Top 10. And I think if you was to sort of go through the league, like, I would say top 10 easy. I don't think we're well, I'm not part of the big 6 because their spending power's more massive than ours. You know what I mean? I swap him my ambition for his wallet. Yeah. What we got? Peter. So Peter's got to say we've got players in late, so we don't have to pay extra week's wages. See, that's the thing that does me, and also and what someone said to me is, and it grinds on me. It fucking does grind on me. It really does. When people turn around and say, "Well, the window don't shut till September the 1st," and I'm thinking by that time we played 4 games. If we've lost 4 games, who's going to want to come to us? Do you know what I'm saying? It just baffles me. It does. It really does. Like, and I see other clubs doing business, and I'm thinking, why are we not doing it? But then, here's a problem. We had the second biggest home support last season. Only Man United got more. Wow. What we got here? I did say that. James, no 2 ways about it, bruv. We need a left back. I know. Tell him. I see everything. He could have updated me logo though. Man takes the liberty. You know what I mean? Josh, you can't make some calls as one of your own. Suddenly, where's that? Yeah. You can do both. You can do both. You have prepare for the future, but you have to have 1 or 2 experienced heads. It's obvious to me. Yeah, I agree. James, Europa League is going to be so hard to get anywhere near winning it with the teams in it this year. Liverpool must be favourites, and there's many others. Yeah, I agree with you, Ken. I really do. Like, obviously, I think getting out of the group will be an achievement. Don't get me wrong. Get out of the group, and then anything can happen. Let's be honest. Anything can happen. Like, in the Europa League, like we could get a nice draw. Teams could get knocked out, and the draw could open up for us. Also, if Liverpool are chasing down the title, what's more important, the title or Europa League? I think the title will be a lot more on their minds. But I'm not expecting much this season, if I'm being honest, especially in Europe. Like last season, I believe West Ham would win the conference. I thought 3-1 was a great bet. I even said it after the Man United game when they was 7-4, I think they was to win it. Yeah. And when the West Ham played Man United, they made themselves literally as good as safe. I went, West Ham will win the conference now. And I always believe from then. But this season, I don't know. I just don't want it to be a struggle. You know what I mean? I really don't. It's just, I'm not on that vibe. Really, I'm not. The Premier League is 3 leagues in one. Top 6, the 7-12, then 13, and last spot. I'll put us in the second tier. I agree with you, Michael. Yeah, 7-12. I think 12th. If you West Ham finished 12th and had a good cup runs, you would. It depends how good the cup runs are. Yeah, you'd probably take it to a point. But I do think top 10 is the one. Do you know what I mean? I think we're in that conversation. We'll say that. And Taylor's laughing because he knows what I'm talking about on that. Right. Anything else anyone wants to discuss? Chuck them in the chat. Any questions in regards to Cresswell? Any left backs that you would like? Um, Obviously, there's so many rumours at the minute. It's very hard to keep up. Like West Ham are using the scattergun approach. Obviously, Conor Gallagher's been mentioned and all, which I'm a bit, I don't know with on that one. And it does look like we're going to be raiding West London for players, which is unreal. Like we're literally getting all Chelsea sort of scraps. But whatever happens, I don't know. I don't know. But what I said the other day to Lucas, right, on this channel, yeah. And one thing I did say is it doesn't feel like I I don't feel excited about the season yet. Yeah, the youngsters, great. They all look good. Yeah, they all look like the youngsters. I'm all for that. Yeah, Academy of Football. I'm all for that. Um, but we need to start seeing some new signings in, like give us a bit of fresh optimism for the season. Do you know what I'm saying? Like what we got to look forward to at the minute. Like we don't even know what strikers are going to be standing going. Like, and I just think I just need to see some signings, basically. That would help the situation massively. Chelsea want 40 million for Gallagher, too much. I agree. I really do. 40 million pounds. Yeah, it's not a good one, I must admit. But I tell you what, I'm going to leave it at that. Anyway, people, keep the faith. Whether Cresswell stays or goes, he's been a good servant to West Ham. I will say that. Do you know what I mean? And you got to give him some respect. Like he's been in 9 years, I think it is, since 2014, and yeah, he's done extremely well, extremely well. Do you know what I mean? It's been moments where he's had his ups and downs. He got a big injury before, and it sort of derailed him. But he's been a good servant to West Ham, and he's been a good footballer. Obviously, we signed him from Ipswich for like silly money. I think it was. I think it was like 7 million, I think, or 5 million. So whatever happens, if he does leave, then so be it. Yeah, it's the right move in my opinion. Yeah, you got to think long term rather than just keep giving these people 1 year deals all the time. Um, and moving forward, need to sign younger, fitter, faster players who can defend. And I'm not saying he can't defend, but is other better left backs out there who can defend. I will say that. I'll get to finally your comments before I wrap up. I'll definitely have Conor Gallagher and Greg Broger in the same kind of deal for the two. Broger's the one, mate. If we can get Broger in, I'll be over the moon with that. Broger, Skamaka could be work. Sounds like the team put together to make transfers. I can't agree fully who to sign. Now, Moyes' style of football isn't attractive for new potential players. Yeah, I agree. Could probably get Fofana and McTominay for 40 mil. Imagine being Tim trying to convince Moyes and Sullivan. I feel sorry for him. Yeah, I agree, mate. He probably comes up with players and like, yeah, he gets that Scottish voice saying no. I did. Who was it? He said the other day. I can't remember who he said. Who was it? Oh, that's going to do me. There was a player on Twitter. Someone had put up and said that Moyes has refused him. Um, I can't remember who it is, but he's basically said no, like he's not convinced on him or something. I think it was Fofana, I think, if I've got it right. And yeah, it's it's a shame. Shame can't get a testimonial due to not owning the ground. Yeah. John, afternoon, mate. Hope you're all well. James, I've got this nagging feeling Sullivan's selling up and keeping the Rice money. I don't think he is, mate. I don't think he's selling up for at least another year. Yeah. I think there's a lot of probate with the gold side of things, and while you sell up, where West Ham have got Europa League football this year, so it's more money for him in his back bin, isn't it? Let's be honest. Alex Scott probably new owner over new signings. I would take new owners. I would, mate. I actually would. I actually would. I think I could sort of stomach this season knowing that the new owners are going to come in. But then, if we was to get new owners, I'll be honest. If they're ambitious, they won't see West Ham like this. They just won't. Do you know what I mean? And the sooner Sullivan goes, the better. Listen, I can give him praise for the way he handled the Declan Rice deal. I can. Yeah, I don't like the man. Yeah, but I'll give credit where credit's due. I'm not one of these flip flops who sort of will consistently hate him. Yeah, even though I do hate the geezer. I will give him credit for the Rice deal because he worked on that deal in a way that sort of benefited us. Now, it only benefits us if we see the money in signings. If we don't see money in signings, then my opinion will completely change on him. But you know, it's one of them. It is one of them. Right, that's enough from me. Enjoy your Wednesday, people, wherever you are on this planet. I've got a little something to say before I go. Yeah, I know there's 85 of you in the chat, but tomorrow night I'm looking to do a little mini stream. Yeah, me, Tom, and Lucas. Anyone who remembers Peach? Peach died on a year on Saturday. He would have died July the 22nd. He was a massive West Ham fan, Canadian, sort of where he was living. He was born in the UK. He was actually born in sort of Five Elms in sort of Dagenham, Essex, and he moved to Canada when he was young. He's just sort of lived out in Canada for a long, long time. He sadly died last year, and basically he loved West Ham. Anyone who knows, who follows a lot of the YouTube channels, who's been following a lot of the YouTube channels for a long time, he was going around all the YouTube channels with his passionate sort of speaking and his mad way of doing things. And obviously, he sadly died last year in sort of tragic circumstances. Do you know what I mean? So tomorrow night, me, Tom, and Lucas are going to do like a little mini stream just to sort of like remember him, basically, at respect, because it is a shame. Don't get me wrong; it still upsets me, really, yeah, with him, because he fucking loved West Ham, like loved it more than me, more than Lucas, more than anyone, yeah. Because I think when you are so far away from West Ham, um, you live and breathe the YouTube scene, and he sort of embraced the YouTube scene and loved it. Do you know what I mean? He even had his own channel. He was a top man, and trust me, there was not a bad bone in the man's body, not one. So yeah, we're going to do a little stream on him tomorrow. He'll be over the moon wherever he is, and looking down on all of us and saying, you know what, I knew West Ham would do it. It's just a shame he never got the chance to see it. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's enough from me. Anyway, I will see you again soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.